I stood in my kitchen, coffee mug halfway to my lips, when my wife dropped the first bomb of the morning. "I'll be home late tonight, James, working on that fundraiser project with Jet." My name is James, and until that moment, I thought I had a perfect marriage. Funny how a simple statement can make your stomach drop like you're in free fall. Again? I kept my voice neutral, stirring my coffee though it didn't need it. That's the third time this week. Isabel barely looked up from her phone, manicured fingers tapping away at the screen. The art show's coming up. Lots to coordinate. I watched her over the rim of my mug. My wife of 8 years, beautiful even in her rushed morning state, hadn't kissed me goodbye in weeks. She used to press her lips to mine every morning, leaving traces of her cherry lip gloss that I'd find hours later. "Need any help?" I offered, knowing the answer. "No, we've got it covered." She grabbed her travel mug, finally meeting my eyes with a smile that didn't quite reach hers. "Don't wait up." The front door clicked shut behind her, and I moved to the window, watching her walk down our carefully maintained suburban street. 3 houses down, she paused at Jet's driveway. He emerged from his front door right on cue as if they'd timed it. My phone buzzed. A notification from our smart home system. Front door locked, 8:15 a.m. I opened the app, scrolling through recent activity. Door unlocked, 11:47 p.m. Door locked, 11:48 p.m. 3 nights ago? I hadn't heard her come in. "Everything okay?" A voice startled me. Laurel, our neighbor from across the street, stood at my open kitchen window, garden shears in hand. "You look like you've seen a ghost." "Just checking something," I said, pocketing my phone. "How are the roses coming along?" "Struggling with aphids." She leaned on the windowsill. "Say, I saw Isabel's car at the Foxes pretty late last night. Ruby mentioned they were working on some art thing?" My coffee turned bitter in my mouth. "Yeah, fundraiser project." "Funny." Laurel tilted her head. "Ruby was at her sister's all weekend." Before I could respond, my phone chimed with a text. "Isabel. Might need to grab dinner with the team. Don't cook for me." "James." Laurel's voice had softened. "You know you can talk to me, right?" I forced a smile. "Everything's fine. Just work stuff." That evening, I sat in our dark living room, pretending to watch TV while really watching the security app on my phone. 10:42 p.m. Next door, Jet's porch light clicked on. 10:43 p.m. A car door shut softly. 10:44 p.m. Footsteps on our front walk. I heard Isabel's key in the lock, but I didn't turn around. She moved through the house like a ghost, probably thinking I was asleep upstairs. Then I heard it. Through our bedroom wall, which shared a wall with Jet's home office, a phone rang. Isabel's voice, barely audible. "Hey, no, he's sleeping. I know, I miss you too." A low, masculine laugh bled through the wall. Jet's laugh. I'd heard it 100 times at neighborhood barbecues, always thought it was friendly, warm. Now it made my blood run cold. I sat there in the dark, my hands gripping the arms of my chair, listening to my wife whisper sweet nothings through the wall to our neighbor. Our friend. The man whose house I owned and rented to him. That's when I knew. I wasn't going to confront them. Not yet. First, I needed proof. Then, I needed a plan. Because some betrayals deserve more than just angry words. They deserve consequences. The next few days became an obsession with patterns. Every notification from our smart home system felt like another piece of evidence. Door unlocked at odd hours. Garage opening when Isabel's car was supposedly at the school. Little digital breadcrumbs of betrayal. "You're quiet today," Laurel said, joining me on my front porch. I'd taken to sitting out there in the evenings, watching the neighborhood's comings and goings, just thinking. I nodded toward Jet's house. "Notice anything strange lately?" She followed my gaze. "Like what?" "Like how often my wife's car is parked over there when Ruby's away?" Laurel's silence told me everything. Finally, she spoke. James, are you sure you want to go down this road? Before I could answer, Jet's booming voice carried across the lawn. Hey, neighbors, perfect timing, firing up the grill, come on over. I almost said no, but something in Laurel's expression made me reconsider. Sure, why not? The backyard barbecue was already in full swing when we arrived. Ruby was there, looking tired around the eyes as she nursed a glass of wine. Isabel stood by the grill with Jet, laughing at something he'd said. Medium rare, right, James? Jet called out, waving his tongs. The same easy charm that had made us friends when he first moved in now felt like sandpaper on my skin. You know it, I forced a smile, accepting a beer from Ruby. James. Ruby touched my arm, her voice low. Could we talk? Privately? We moved to the corner of the yard away from the others. I watched Isabel watching us, her smile faltering slightly. Something's wrong with Jet, Ruby confided, her words rushing out. He's different, distant, always on his phone, always working late. I think he's having an affair. My beer turned to acid in my stomach. What makes you say that? Little things, missing hours, deleted text messages. He changed his phone password. She blinked rapidly. I sound crazy, don't I? No, I said quietly. You don't sound crazy at all. Across the yard, Isabel and Jet were standing closer than necessary, their shoulders touching as they looked at something on his phone. As if sensing my gaze, Isabel glanced up, meeting my eyes for a split second before looking away. Hey, everyone. Jessica, Isabel's friend, arrived with a bowl of salad. Hope I'm not too late. Perfect timing, Isabel called back, stepping away from Jet. James, honey, could you grab more ice from our freezer? I nodded, heading inside. As I passed through Jet's kitchen, I noticed a familiar travel mug in his sink. The one I'd given Isabel for Christmas with the small chip on the rim. My hands shook as I grabbed my phone, opening our security app again. There it was. Garage door opened 2:14 p.m., when Isabel should have been teaching her afternoon art class. Everything okay in here? Ruby appeared in the doorway, her face knowing. You found something, didn't you? Your husband's been spending a lot of time with my wife, I said carefully. Working on an art show fundraiser. Ruby's laugh was hollow. Funny, he told me he was working on a real estate project with Tobias. We stood there in Jet's kitchen, two people discovering their worlds were built on lies. Through the window, I could see Isabel and Jet serving food, playing the perfect hosts. What are you going to do? Ruby asked. I thought about the rental agreement in my office drawer. About how I owned not just my house, but Jet's too. About the annual block party coming up next month. I have an idea, I said, but I'm going to need your help. Ruby and I met at a coffee shop 2 towns over where no one would recognize us. She spread credit card statements across the table while I pulled up our home security logs on my laptop. Look at this, she pointed to a charge. Car rental 3 weeks ago. He said it was for a business trip to the coast. What day? I scrolled through my logs. Thursday the 12th. Isabel took a personal day from school that Thursday. My throat tightened. Said she had a migraine. Ruby's hands trembled as she lifted her coffee. They're not even trying to hide it anymore, are they? They think we're blind, I said, pulling up another screen. Or stupid. The bell above the coffee shop door chimed. We both tensed, but it was just Laurel. She spotted us and walked over, her face grim. I need to tell you something, she said, sliding into our booth. I saw Isabel last night, around midnight. My stomach clenched. Where? Sneaking across your lawn to Jet's house. Ruby, I'm so sorry. I saw your car was gone. Book club. Ruby's laugh was bitter. At least that's what he thinks I was doing. I pulled up the security footage on my phone. There it was. Isabel's shadow moving across our front lawn at 11:52 p.m. The porch light next door clicking on at 11:53 p.m. I should have told you sooner. Laurel touched my hand. I couldn't believe it. You two were always so perfect together. Perfect. I echoed, remembering our wedding day. How Isabel had promised forever, looking into my eyes like I was her whole world. Now she was looking at Jet that way. James, Ruby's voice snapped me back. There's more. She pushed another statement across the table. Hotel charges, always on Wednesdays, always the same place. I checked my phone's calendar. Isabel has art club meetings on Wednesdays. The Riverside Hotel, Laurel read over my shoulder. That's only 15 minutes from here. My phone buzzed. A text from Isabel. Working late again. Don't wait up. It's Wednesday, Ruby said quietly. I stood up so fast my chair scraped against the floor. Let's go. What? Laurel grabbed my arm. James, don't do anything crazy. I just want to see for myself. I was already pulling on my jacket. I need to know. Ruby stood too. I'm coming with you. The Riverside Hotel was upscale but discreet. We parked across the street, watching the entrance. At 6:45, a familiar car pulled into the lot. That's Jet's car, Ruby whispered. 5 minutes later, Isabel's silver Audi pulled in. We watched them meet at the side entrance, watched Jet pull her close for a kiss before they disappeared inside. Ruby made a small, broken sound beside me. I gripped the steering wheel until my knuckles went white. I have the lease agreements at home, I said, my voice steady despite the rage burning in my chest. Both of them, your house and mine. What are you thinking? Ruby turned to me, her eyes fierce. The block party's in 3 weeks. Everyone will be there. Family, friends, neighbors. I started the car. Seems like the perfect time for some eviction notices, don't you think? Ruby's smile was sharp. Count me in. As we drove home, I thought about Isabel and Jet in that hotel room, thinking they were so clever, so secret. They had no idea what was coming. Sometimes the best revenge isn't swift or violent. Sometimes it's careful, calculated, and public. And I was just getting started. The next evening, Isabel suggested having friends over for dinner. Jessica and Tobias are free. It'll be fun, she said, like everything was normal. Like she hadn't spent yesterday afternoon in a hotel with our neighbor. I agreed. Let her think I was clueless. Jessica arrived first, hugging Isabel too long, throwing me careful glances. She knew. Of course she knew. Need help in the kitchen? I asked Jessica, leaving Isabel to set the table. Once alone, I turned to her. How long have you been covering for her? Jessica froze, wine bottle halfway to the counter. What? Don't. My voice was ice. Just don't. She set the bottle down carefully. James, it's complicated. Is it? Because it seems pretty simple to me. My wife is sleeping with our neighbor, and you're helping her hide it. The doorbell saved her from responding. Tobias arrived with a bottle of scotch and his usual easy smile. Throughout dinner, I watched. Watched Jessica field calls from Jet with practiced lies about Isabel's whereabouts. Watched my wife check her phone under the table, smiling at messages I couldn't see. So, the block party's coming up. Tobias mentioned between bites. You hosting again this year, James? Wouldn't miss it. I took a slow sip of wine. I'm thinking of making it special this year. Isabel looked up. Special how? You'll see. I smiled, and something in my expression made her pause. After dinner, I found Tobias in my office, admiring my collection of vintage cameras. Everything okay? He asked quietly. You seem different. I closed the door. I need legal advice. I'm a real estate lawyer, not a... He stopped, understanding crossing his face. Ah. I own both properties, I said. Mine and Jet's. I need to know my rights as a landlord. Tobias sat heavily in my leather chair. You know. I know. He pulled out his phone, typing quickly. Lease terms? Notice periods? I handed him both contracts. As he read, I heard laughter from the kitchen, Isabel and Jessica sharing some private joke. You can terminate either lease with 30 days' notice, Tobias finally said. No cause needed. But James, are you sure about this? My phone lit up with a notification. Front door, unlocked. I looked out the office window just in time to see Jet slipping into his house. Seconds later, Isabel's phone buzzed. "Not feeling well," she announced from the kitchen. "Might lie down for a bit." I watched her through the window as she crossed our lawn minutes later, disappearing into Jet's house. Into my house, technically. "I'm sure," I told Tobias. He nodded slowly. "I'll drop the paperwork, but you'll need to serve it properly. Witnesses, documentation." "The block party," I said. "Everyone will be there. Everyone will see." "That's cold." Tobias whistled low. "But after what they're doing, they deserve it." I pulled up the security camera app, showing him the footage of Isabel's midnight visits, the hotel meetings, the lies piling upon lies. "I'll help," he said finally. "Whatever you need." When our guests left, Isabel reappeared, flushed and slightly disheveled. "Sorry, that migraine hit hard. Feeling better now." "Good," I said, gathering the wine glasses. "Wouldn't want you sick for the block party." She paused on the stairs. "You seem really focused on this party." "Just want everything to be perfect," I said, thinking of the eviction notices I would soon be drafting. "It's going to be a night to remember." She had no idea how right I was. 3 days before the block party, I met Tobias at his office to finalize the eviction notices. 2 identical manila envelopes sat on his desk, each containing a legal death sentence for my marriage and Jet's affair. "Everything's in order," Tobias said, sliding them across his desk. 30 days notice, all legal requirements met. Once served, they can't contest it. "And the timing? Perfectly legal to serve notice at any time, even during a neighborhood party." He leaned back. "Though I have to admit, that's a first for me." My phone buzzed. Ruby. "They're together again. Meeting at the hotel?" "You don't have to do it this way," Tobias said quietly. "Could serve them privately." I pocketed the envelopes. "They chose to humiliate us publicly. They just did it behind our backs." Back home, I found Laurel waiting on my porch. "The party planning committee needs final numbers," she said, but her eyes were worried. "James, people are talking. They know something's coming." "Let them talk." Inside, I showed her the envelopes. Her hand flew to her mouth. "Oh my God, you're really doing it." "Watch this." I pulled up my phone, opening a video file. Security footage from last night. Isabel sneaking out, meeting Jet in his garage, their passionate embrace clearly visible. "I've got dozens of these," I said. "Times, dates, locations, everything." "Does Ruby know about the evictions?" "She helped plan it." I smiled grimly. "We've got it all worked out." My phone chimed again. Ruby. "Just talk to the DJ, he's on board. We'll cut the music on your signal." "You've thought of everything," Laurel whispered. "Almost." I pulled out a printed speech. "Need your opinion on this." She read it, her eyes widening. "James, this will destroy them." Good. The front door opened, Isabel returning from her art club meeting. Her lipstick was smudged. "Oh, hi, Laurel." She tried to sound casual. "Planning party details?" "Something like that." I tucked the speech away. "How was art club?" "Good. The kids are really improving." She hurried upstairs to shower to wash away evidence of her afternoon with Jet. Laurel grabbed my arm. "She has no idea, does she?" "Neither of them do." I checked my watch. "Ruby's making sure Jet's family comes to the party. His parents, sisters, everyone." "And Isabel's family?" "Her parents confirmed yesterday. Front row seats to their daughter's humiliation." Later that night, I stood in my office, practicing my speech in the mirror. The words were burned into my memory now. The careful introduction, the shocking revelation, the final twist of serving the eviction notices. My phone lit up. Ruby. "Just finished my part of the speech. It's perfect." Another text from Tobias. "PA system tested. You'll be heard by everyone." And another from Laurel. Seating arranged. They'll be front and center. I heard Isabel on the phone in our bedroom, her voice low and intimate. Can't wait to see you tomorrow. I know, baby. I miss you too. The rage I'd been controlling rose up like bile. 3 more days. Just 3 more days. My phone buzzed one final time. Jessica, please don't do this. Think about what it'll do to her. I typed back, you should have thought about that before helping them lie. Downstairs, I could hear the party decorations being delivered. Tables, chairs, the stage where I would destroy 2 marriages with carefully chosen words and legal documents. Some would call it cruel. I called it justice. The block party was coming, and with it, the end of their perfect little affair. The morning of the block party dawned bright and clear. Perfect weather for destroying lives. I watched Isabel flutter around the house, arranging flowers and checking decorations. She was wearing a new blue dress, probably bought with Jet in mind. Everything looks amazing, she beamed, kissing my cheek. First time in weeks. You've really outdone yourself this year. Just wait, I murmured, patting the envelopes in my jacket pocket. People started arriving at 4. Ruby stationed herself by the drinks table, looking stunning in red. Our eyes met across the lawn. She gave me a slight nod. James, Jet called out, walking over with 2 beers. Great turnout. I accepted the beer, noting the expensive cologne he wore, the same scent that sometimes lingered on Isabel's clothes. Glad you could make it. Saw your parents arrived. Yeah, whole family's here. He grinned. Wouldn't miss your famous block party. No, I smiled back. You really wouldn't want to miss this one. The party swelled as more neighbors arrived. Tobias checked the microphone setup while pretending to adjust music levels. Laurel guided people to their seats. Jet's family on one side, Isabel's on the other. Everything's ready, Ruby whispered as she passed by. Jessica tried warning them, but they're not checking their phones. I looked over at Jessica, who stood alone by the hedge, face pale. She knew what was coming. James! Isabel appeared at my elbow. Can we talk after the party? There's something I need to tell you. My laugh was hollow. Funny. I have something to tell you, too. The sun started setting. Fairy lights twinkled on, casting a warm glow over the gathered crowd. Isabel and Jet kept stealing glances at each other, probably thinking no one noticed. Time for speeches, Tobias announced, tapping the microphone. Ruby squeezed my arm as I walked to the small stage. The envelopes felt heavy in my pocket. Friends, neighbors, family, I began, my voice carrying clearly across the hushed crowd. Thank you all for coming to our annual block party. Isabel beamed up at me. Jet raised his beer in salute. You know, community is built on trust, I continued, on honesty, on respect for each other's homes and marriages. The smile on Isabel's face faltered slightly, which is why tonight I want to talk about betrayal. Dead silence fell over the crowd. I saw Jet's mother lean forward, confused. Isabel's father frowned. Some of you already know what I'm about to say. Some of you helped cover it up. I looked directly at Jessica, who turned away. But tonight everything comes to light. James! Isabel stood up, her voice shaking. What are you doing? Funny you should ask. I pulled out my phone. Because I have some interesting security footage to share, would anyone like to see what really happens in our neighborhood after dark? Jet stood now too, his face draining of color. Hey man, maybe we should... Sit down, Ruby's voice cut through the tension. Both of you sit down and watch. The first image appeared on the screen behind me. Isabel sneaking across the lawn. Then another. Their kiss in Jet's garage. Another, the hotel meetings. Gasps rippled through the crowd. Jet's wife covered her face. Isabel's mother started crying. But don't worry, I reached into my jacket. I'm not just here to expose an affair, I'm here to serve some papers. The envelopes felt light now as I held them up. Isabel, Jet, as your landlord, I'm serving you both with eviction notices. 30 days to vacate my properties. The chaos that erupted was everything I'd hoped for, but I wasn't done yet. Oh, and one more thing. Ruby, I said into the microphone, would you like to share what you found in Jet's email? Ruby stood, her hands steady as she pulled out her phone. Plane tickets, she announced clearly. 2 round-trip tickets to Paris. Purchased last week. Not in my name. Jet lunged forward. Ruby, don't. Their little getaway was planned for next month, I continued. Using money from our joint accounts, Isabel. Did you think I wouldn't notice? Isabel's father stood up, his face red. Young lady, is this true? Daddy, I can explain, Isabel started. Explain what? I clicked to the next slide. The hotel receipts? The secret phone calls? Or maybe explain these text messages I recovered? The messages projected onto the screen. Explicit exchanges between them that made several people gasp. Jet's mother burst into tears. James! Isabel rushed toward the stage. Please stop. Stop! I laughed. Like you stopped when I asked where you were going every Wednesday. Like you stopped when Ruby asked why you were always at our house. You bastard! Jet snarled, starting forward, but Tobias and 2 other neighbors blocked his path. No, you're the bastard, Ruby's voice rang out. You're the one who threw away 12 years of marriage for what? Cheap thrills with the neighbor's wife? I held up the eviction notices. Isabel, as of tonight, you have 30 days to leave our home. Jet, same goes for you. Ruby's keeping the house. I'm transferring the lease to her name. You can't do this, Jet protested. I have rights. Check your lease agreement, Tobias stepped forward. As your lawyer, I should mention that James is completely within his legal rights. The crowd had formed a circle around us now. I saw phones recording, neighbors whispering, Jessica crying in the background. I loved you, I told Isabel, my voice carrying across the sudden silence. I would have given you anything. Instead, you chose to sneak around with him, lying to everyone, humiliating me and Ruby in our own homes. James, please. Isabel reached for me, mascara running down her cheeks. We can talk about this. We're done talking. I handed her the envelope. You have until 9 a.m. tomorrow to pack essentials. The rest we'll arrange through lawyers. Ruby stepped forward, handing Jet his notice. Same goes for you. Keys on the counter, garage opener in the drawer. Don't make this uglier than it already is. Jet's father appeared, grabbing his son's arm. Car, now, we'll discuss this at home. And Isabel, her mother's voice cracked like a whip. You're coming with us. I can't even look at you right now. The crowd parted as both families led their disgraced children away. I watched Isabel look back once, her face a mask of shock and tears before her father's car door slammed shut. Party's over, folks, Tobias announced, but nobody was leaving. They wanted to see what happened next. Ruby walked up to me, tears in her eyes but head held high. Thank you, she whispered, for helping me take out the trash. I hugged her briefly, then turned to address the remaining crowd. I appreciate everyone's support, but I think we could all use some privacy now. As people slowly dispersed, Laurel touched my arm. Are you okay? I looked at the 2 eviction notices, now crumpled in Isabel's and Jet's hands as they were driven away in separate cars. No, I said honestly. But I will be. The fairy lights continued to twinkle overhead, illuminating the remains of a party that had turned into an execution. Not of people, but of lies, and it felt like justice. The moving truck pulled away from my house early Sunday morning. I watched from the kitchen window as Isabel's parents supervised the loading of her belongings. She hadn't dared come herself. Coffee? Ruby appeared beside me, holding 2 steaming mugs. Thanks. I accepted one, noting the empty house next door where Jet's truck had been parked just yesterday. How are you holding up? Better than expected. She leaned against the counter. His sister called. Said he's staying with them until he finds a new place. Isabel's at her parents', I said. Her mother left a message asking me not to pursue legal action. Are you going to? I shook my head. The public humiliation was enough. Sometimes living with the consequences is punishment enough. My phone buzzed. Another message from Jessica. I'm sorry, I should have told you sooner. You deserved better. Delete, I muttered, hitting the button. The doorbell rang. Tobias stood there with a stack of papers. Final property transfer documents for Ruby, and he pulled out another envelope. Your divorce papers are ready to file. We sat at my kitchen table, the morning sun streaming through windows that no longer held any shadows of betrayal. Ruby signed her new lease while I initialed page after page of dissolution. The neighborhood's still buzzing, Laurel called through the open window, making us jump. Sorry, force of habit, but seriously, you two are local legends now. Great, Ruby rolled her eyes. Just what I always wanted to be famous for. Better than being famous for being cheated on, I pointed out. We all laughed, and it felt genuine. Real. Like the first clear breath after a long illness. Hey, Tobias gathered the signed papers. We're grilling tonight. Both of you should come. No drama, just friends. I'd like that, Ruby said softly. After they left, I walked through my house. Already it felt different. Lighter somehow. Isabel's art supplies were gone from the spare room. Her clothes no longer hung in our closet. Our closet. My closet. The security app pinged one last time. Garage door code changed successfully. You don't need that anymore, Ruby said from the doorway, watching me stare at my phone. We're free. We are, aren't we? She stepped into the room. I'm not saying we should, I know it's too soon, but thank you for helping me get my dignity back. Thank you for helping me find mine. We stood there, two people who'd been betrayed but refused to be broken. Through the window, I could see Laurel in her garden, Tobias walking his dog, neighbors going about their Sunday routines. Life continuing, but differently now, better. Want to help me take down the security cameras? I asked Ruby. God, yes, she laughed. And then maybe we can finally delete those tracking apps. As we worked, removing the digital eyes that had caught our spouse's betrayal, I felt something shift inside me. Not healing, not yet, but the beginning of it. Like the first bricks being laid in a new foundation. Last one, Ruby called, holding up a disconnected camera. I took it from her, our fingers brushing briefly. We both pulled back. Not ready, maybe never ready, but that was okay too. What now? She asked. I looked at our empty houses, at the quiet street, at the future stretching out before us. Uncertain but clean of lies. Now, I said, we start over, on our own terms. She smiled, and in that smile I saw everything we'd won back. Our pride, our homes, our right to trust again someday. Sometimes the best revenge isn't just exposing the truth. It's living well after the dust settles.